It was a dry season. I and my fellow Maasai teenagers in a group of 6 were forced to move far across the bushes in search for water and pasture since the kettles were dying of hunger. Now, as morons, we were taught how to discover animal footprints at a glance of an eye. And guess what we saw on the ground? Lion footprints. Careful, everyone. I whispered gently when we started following them step by step, step by step, step. Ah! The lion roars a thunderous sound that shakes the dry and dusty ground. Its yellow eyes a burning flame no human hand could ever tell. It leaps ahead with claws of steel, a little of the plains can feel, but still he sends the warrior boy who sees the test and feels the joy. I raised high the gleaming spear and strike away the grip of fear. With lungs of fire and muscle strength, the warrior's focus is unchained. I drove the spear with blinding speed to answer the call for my people's need. The iron pieces flesh and bone. The lion lets out warless groan. The massive chest begins to slow. The king of peace is laid below. The lion was bleeding to death. And just like that, my Maasai grandfather concluded narrating his legendary story. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, distinguished guests, my fellow precious contestants, good evening. Nikanori, I'm sorry, but I cannot do this anymore. We are done. Ladies and gentlemen, those were the final words of my ex-girlfriend, Zuena. The most beautiful woman I've ever met in my life. Broke my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, the world has interesting ways of traumatizing innocent people. I did not sleep that night. I remember taking my phone in tears. Opened my WhatsApp. And the only thing I posted was a 2-word statement. You know it. Fear, win. At this point in my life, I realized that mental health issues are real. You'll be shocked when I tell you the thing I did to revenge her for leaving me. With my own consciousness, I decided that I will not take shower for a whole week. The reason why was because I wanted to prove to her that I'm a man and I can live my life the way I want. Ladies and gentlemen, I almost gave up on true love. And after so many years of being single, finally, I have fallen in love again. Now, not with Zuena, but with my culture. Ladies and gentlemen, Maasai isn't just a tribe. It's the cultural heritage of Africa. Our ways of life are not just a fairy tale, but they indeed provide crucial lessons to reflect upon and foster the development of Africa as a continent. Let me teach you a simple Maasai greeting. This is how we say hello in Maasai. When I say enter Supai, you reply by saying Ipa. Did you get that? Yes. Enter Subai. Enter Subai. That's nice. Let's continue. In the Maasai community, it is a tradition for boys to leave their homes and live together in an isolated bush camp where they will hunt lions as an iconic transition from being boys to becoming men who can serve as warriors for the community. Now here's the secret. On the camp, everything is shared with peers. There we learn on how to act as a single unit, prioritizing the village over individual desires. More. To some of you, that is the sound of a cow. But to a Maasai boy like me, that is the sound of wealth. The number of cows you have determines your wealth. And wealth is not measured in isolated individual herding, but in the collective well-being of the community and the herd. This culture reminds us as a continent to come together and prioritize unity over individualism in fighting common enemies. See how beautiful and visionary the 62 years of the Muungano between Tanganyika and Zanzibar is. It is indeed sustained by the moral spirit present in every citizen of Tanzania. Take a look at the African Continental Free Trade Area, which represents this spirit on a microeconomic scale by breaking down colonial borders and uniting 54 nations into a single market. Africa is choosing collective negotiation, regional value chain, and shared economic resilience over isolated development. Can I see the hands of people who have been watching the World Cup? Team Argentina? Team Portugal? That's awesome. I myself moved from Portugal to France, to England, and I am currently a Spain fan. But that's not the point. Can I see the hands of fans from South Africa? Team South Africa? You all know what I'm talking about. I can now understand why South Africa faced intense opposition from fellow African nations. Yes, that's what you get when you mistreat your fellow brothers and choose selfishness over unity. For generations, the Maasai have thrived as pastoralists, adapting to harsh, shifting climates by migrating in search for fresh pasture and water. We do not fight the changing seasons, we adapt to them. This is a reminder that Africa's development must be agile. We cannot be rigid in our economic structures, but we must adapt to global shifts, climate change, and technological revolutions without losing our core identity. Despite immense pressure from globalization, as Maasais, we have fiercely guarded our language, dress, and cultural heritage, negotiating the modern world on our own terms. It's amazing how many tourists travel to Tanzania just to enjoy the Maasai dance and not just jump several meters high. Watch me. The jump begins this way. And as I do this, you may think that I'll not be able to jump. And you're right, because I'm running out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa must develop with confidence in its own cultural identity. We should not measure our progress by how closely we resemble the whites, but by how well we elevate our own creative industries, languages, and philosophies. Look at the safaris in Tanzania and the global spread of Swahili language. How about Nollywood in Nigeria and the universal rise of Afrobeats? All these show how Africa is exporting its own culture on its own terms. These industries are not just entertainment. They are economic powerhouses that create jobs, build global influence, and generate revenue, all driven by authentic African storytelling. Ladies and gentlemen, before I leave this stage tonight, I want to challenge everyone in this room with a question. Who is the lion blocking your way to the stream of water? Dear brothers and sisters, in this journey of life, every single day, we face lions on our way. What are the obstacles blocking the way to your dream? Honorable presidents, ministers, and leaders of institutions watching online, who is the lion blocking the development of our nations? The lion of corruption is very strong, but we are not defeated. We are just dead in book. There's nothing we can do. We cannot let fear take all the credits. We cannot let the screams of excuses silence the vision we have carried for years. It is time to take action and conquer the lion with boldness. Ladies and gentlemen, when I look at you, deep within you, I see a Moran who is stronger than the lion facing you. Let the Moran inside you be activated. Tanzanians, let the Moran inside us be activated. Africa, let the Moran inside us be activated. Ashe Nalem. That means